Good evening and welcome to the Pleasantville Village Board meeting. Today is Monday, May 11. If you're watching live on Monday, May 11, we encourage you to call in. If you have comments or questions, our call-in number is 769-1677. We have scheduled a special meeting on Friday, May 29 at 8 a.m. For the purpose of approving bills, because that's the week with Memorial Day in it and we don't have a regular meeting. And then our next regular meeting thereafter is back at our usual Monday on June 8 at 8 p.m. As always, you can watch us live on Cablevision or Verizon Cable TV, or watch us live on PCTV76.org. And within a few days, you can pick up an on-demand webcast of this meeting and past meetings at PCTV76.org. A raft of announcements to make. Today is Monday the 11th. This Saturday, May 16, is Pleasantville Day, a renovated and modified and I think improved Pleasantville Day. A bunch of people, including Petra Zorgman, Marlene Canopy, and Peter Rogovan, have been working, taking over the reins from Ginny Brentano, who served this village extraordinarily well for years and years and years and years as the coordinator of Pleasantville Day, and has finally decided to hang up her spurs. So thanks to Petra, Marlene, and Peter for taking that on. It's going to be an exciting day, not only with a wide range of activities for adults and kids and all kinds of food and rides and Kids Adventure Zone, assisted with support from the Chamber of Commerce, but there will also be a Pleasantville High School art show at the Jacob Burns Media Arts Lab, activities all around town. Many of the stores and businesses have activities as well. So all day long this Saturday, May 16, Pleasantville Day, mark your calendar and appear. As a reminder, the farm market finished its winter run in the middle school this past Saturday. There's no farm market this weekend because of Pleasantville Day, and the weekend following on Saturday, which is what, the 23rd?
Yes.
The farm market reopens in its outdoor location at Memorial Plaza. We
Can I
have
just
it.
interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Pleasantville Day is not on our calendar on our website. It's not, oh, I was on today, it wasn't on. So,
Okay.
okay, oh, you're shaking your head, yes, okay.
No, I'm gonna check it.
All right, thanks, I'm sorry, just.
Thank you.
We are hard at work with the last touches on the renovation of our Pleasantville Pool House. I think when you visit, you will be happy to see completely renovated bathrooms, a new breezeway, new flooring, new outdoor showers. Things have been painted and spruced up all the way around. Are really going to be, I think, a very nice improvement for the pool and for all of its patrons. There's an open house at the pool on May 23 from noon to 3 p.m. So that is on Saturday, May 23. Encourage everybody to sign up and get their pool passes. It's going to be a great year at the pool. The Memorial Day Parade and Memorial Day Ceremony is on Memorial Day, Monday, May 25 at 10 a.m. That starts with a ceremony at the World War I Monument at BRS, continues with a parade down Bedford Road to Memorial Plaza, and continues with a Memorial Day ceremony down at the war monuments at the end of Memorial Plaza. So if you are in town, I really, really encourage you to turn out for that. It's not only a great village event, but a really moving opportunity to be reminded of the sacrifices that many, many, many village residents have made over several centuries in defending this country. And then lastly, as if we didn't have enough going on in the month of May, the Firemen's Parade is taking place the Friday of Memorial Day week. That's Friday, May 29 at 7 p.m. That same night, the Tina Gambino Scholarship benefit event is taking place at Holy Innocents Social Hall. So we encourage you to do both things, but to think a little bit ahead about traffic and parking, since all of Bedford and a piece of Manville will be closed to cars for the period of time from a little bit before the 7 p.m. parade until it finishes probably sometime 8:30 or thereabouts. So lots of stuff going on in the village of Pleasantville. Lastly, I'd like to report that a number of us attended the PCTV benefit event, which took place a week ago, honoring our recently retired trustee, Jonathan Cunningham, giving us another occasion both to honor him for his service and to rib him about his foibles. I dare say it's a good reason never to retire, because you open yourself up to that. But Jonathan received a well-deserved honor, and lots of people turned out not only on Jonathan's behalf, but on behalf of PCTV for their major fundraising event of the year. So congratulations to all parties.
You guys did a great job.
On that.
You really
Yeah, it was
did.
fun.
Juliet, wonderful job.
Will the Jonathan Cunningham video be publicly
Placed online
distributed?
publicly?
Available? I think it should
All
be.
right.
Good. Next to
Colleen,
Bill who?
you had,
Janine was the star.
That was priceless.
Oh, just we had gotten a note from Detective Morgan Cole Hatchard to let us know that this year the PBA has increased their scholarships to our graduating seniors from 2 scholarships to $4,000 scholarships. It's a process that happens through Naviance and through the guidance office at the high school, but just a wonderful thing that they've done and doubling the number of scholarships, and we appreciate that.
thank you to the PBA. Great stuff going on, and there was another successful event for Pleasantville Strong.
Yes,
Right.
we actually had a great event last Tuesday. We had probably the largest number of students from the high school come. I would say we had about 100 students from the high school come. We had a speaker that spoke to all the parents, and then a speaker that took the kids off to another spot. And we talked about binge drinking, we talked about the prom, we talked about the summer, and we look forward to more events coming up, and appreciate everybody who came out to those. And our next meeting is, there are 2 things with Pleasantville Strong. There are parent forums, and then there's also coalition meetings. Coalition meetings meet on the 3rd Wednesday of the month, and we meet at the high school at 8 o'clock. So the next one is the 20th? The 20th?
Third Wednesday is, I think you're right.
Yeah. Or the 21st? I think, I don't have my calendar.
Third
Wednesday's
Wednesday.
the 20th.
20th.
Right.
Yes, excuse me. So
Yeah.
the next one is the 20th. It's open to all people. We welcome anybody who has any suggestions. One of the things that we've been kicking around is alternatives to the after prom, and we're looking for parents to get involved with that.
And then the next coalition meeting is June.
June 9th is the next coalition meeting. We're going to target middle school students this time, serve pizza, try and get as many parents and kids to come, and we're going to talk about the same sort of topics, but just with an earlier target.
Great, thank you for that. Also wanted to make an announcement on behalf of the Conservation Advisory Committee. Based on our local law, the Conservation Advisory Committee, which is a group of Pleasantville residents who are appointed by this board to be serving on the CAC, is responsible for maintaining the village's wetlands control district map, which is essentially a map that identifies where there are wetlands and provides a guide to the approximate boundaries of all watercourses and wetlands. That has various implications, including planning implications. So our last wetlands control map was updated in '84, and the CAC is in the process of updating it. Most of their work can be completed using GIS tools, Geographic Information System stuff, but in a few instances there may need to be a site visit to some private properties. So if a site visit is required, there'll be an official request made in writing to the owner asking permission to access the property for the purposes of the wetland mapping, and access must be obtained in writing from the owner before the property is inspected. So if you should fall into that category, feel free to contact Village Hall and ask any questions you may have. There is no malintent here. It's simply a matter of updating where water goes in the Village of Pleasantville and what areas qualify as wetlands under our local law.
Can the streets in front of our house become a wetland when it rains? Does that count? Can we map
Well,
that?
speak to the CAC, Mr. Lord.
It becomes more of a waterfall.
If you
really.
need a boat on rainy
That's right.
days,
You need a canoe, then it's a
maybe you
wetland.
have a leg to stand on. All right, any other?
I have a
Yeah,
couple
go
things
ahead,
real
yeah.
quick. So I don't know if this has already been announced or not, but I have an email from Martha Mateo, who runs the Science Olympiad program at the middle school, right? And I just wanted to make notice that in the 3rd year of participation, the Pleasantville Middle School Science Olympiad team went from best newbie in 2012 to 2nd in the Lower Hudson region and 8th in the whole state of New York last year, or this year, 2014 and 15. And importantly, and somewhat related to that, they're going to be holding a STEM career fair on Monday, May 18th, from 7 to 9 at the Pleasantville High School cafeteria. And this is not going to be your normal sort of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math thing. The theme of this event is going to be crooked career paths. which most of us, everyone kind of does this. And what they're really going to focus on is how you may start up in one place and end up in a totally different place in your career using skills that you may have used or learned back when you were first in the initial one. I certainly am a poster child for that one. So wanted to make notice of that. STEM Career Fair, Crooked Career Paths. Apparently they've got 25 or 27 really, really fascinating stories. One that she pointed out here is a guy who now works in a robotic surgery environment who started out as a taxi driver. So it's an interesting thing, and I'd encourage anybody who's got some interest in those areas to go. I know I never thought I'd use math to the extent that I do, but you do. You know, that's
Crooked
it.
CCP.
Right, Crooked Career Paths.
All right, thank you for that.
Sure.
Any other announcements? Our next agenda item is an annual event, and that is the happy occasion that we have to honor the young people in Pleasantville High School who have raised their hand to become Pleasantville International Association ambassadors and to head off to a foreign country in the summer with the assistance and fundraising support of the parents, families, and alumni of the Pleasantville International Association. So it's, Betty, did you want to give us a preview?
Yes, I'm Betty Kirstein. I'm the mother of one of the ambassadors this year, Elizabeth Gelman. I've been asked to say a few words about PIA for those of you who are not familiar with it. It's a nonprofit community organization created to promote international goodwill and better understanding among the different peoples of the world. Working with organized student exchange programs such as the Experiment in International Living, PIA encourages students to experience life abroad, provides partial financial assistance, and advises families through the process. On their return to Pleasantville, the student ambassadors give back to the community. They share their experiences in public settings, help to raise funds for the next year's ambassadors, and interest other students in the program. In these ways, PIA connects both students and PIA supporters with the wider world, strengthening our own sense of community and exemplifying the value of service to others. So that's a little introduction to it. And then this year, PIA is sponsoring 3 ambassadors, all of whom will be part of the Experiment in International Living. And they are Tirdad Bebayani, who will be an ambassador to Argentina. And do you want them to come up?
Come on up.
Come on up.
Yeah. Why don't you read them all?
Okay. Then Will Blasdell will be an ambassador to France. And Elizabeth Gelman will be an ambassador to Ireland.
So we have a certificate for each of you, suitable for framing, and I'm sure you'll rush home to do that. But also 2 other things. One is the history book that was done about Pleasantville on the occasion of its tricentennial, as well as a little Pleasantville bag. And we encourage you to take this to these foreign lands and send us back a selfie showing a Pleasantville backpack in these foreign
Your new
lands. So,
location, right.
Tirdad,
We should give them the selfie sticks.
Yeah.
Bill, Lizzie.
You turn around so you get your
Get up.
front instead of your
Yeah.
backs on camera.
So I thank you so much, not only for coming.
And we actually have a gift for you. These are 2, 4, about 6 ambassadors from last year who have their Pleasantville bag
Yes.
and took pictures of themselves in
All right.
all sorts of interesting places and animals.
hang it up
And that is
downstairs.
for.
That's
You guys
great.
got to do the selfies. It's
That's
like really
fantastic. Yeah,
important.
so
Really
there's your
important to
model.
us.
I know where from I speak. My daughter, now 26, is a PIA alum who went to Costa Rica and remembers it as one of the great moments of her high school career. Maybe one of the great moments of her young life. So I congratulate not only all of you for doing it, but for the courage it takes to march off to these uncharted territories and spend a long time there. And I know that you, just like all that went before you, will represent Pleasantville well and bring back a piece of your story, and we'll see you on PCTV in the fall. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Dear Dad, is your dad going to follow you around with a camera?
I thought this was awesome.
So that's 2 years in a row. PIA has delivered in spades with the selfies.
Right.
It's great.
This is great.
It's we're going to beat Stu Leonard's at this rate, right?
This is
They
great.
have that wall of Stu
Look at
Leonard's.
this guy. He forgot his bag, but at least
He
he
still
wrote
got
a
it done.
sign.
He wrote a sign? I love
How
it.
cute is that? This is great.
We should hang all those up.
I love that.
It is a great thing.
No, but
We'll hang it somewhere.
yeah,
somewhere.
Judy will find a good place.
Hall of.
We'll put it in our, you want it in the back room?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, we'll find a place.
Each year we can put up the ones that.
What about up in the hallway upstairs?
Yeah, even upstairs. It'd be nice for people to see it.
All right. With that, are there any comments from the public? No comments from the public. Don't forget, you can call in 769-1677. With that, we will go to our resolution. Steve, number 82.
Resolved that pre-check register dated May 11th, 2015, covering electronic check register numbers 2068 through 2121 and pre-check numbers 80433 through 80546 has been reviewed, and they are hereby approved as listed below. From the general fund, the water fund, the capital fund, the refuse fund, the pool fund, the trust and agency fund, and the trust and agency fund totaling $159,933.52.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions on the check register?
I had, as usual, I had a quick one. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now. I don't think I am.
All right.
Patty, I might
we
circle
can-
back with you on
Okay.
it when I find it.
All right. All in favor of the check register?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Committee number 83.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees has reviewed the minutes of the meeting held on Monday, April 27th, 2015, and they are hereby approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or corrections on the minutes?
Just one, you have Colleen present and absent. I don't think she could be in two places at one time, but I'm sure she would like to.
I've tried.
Sometimes, yes.
Every day.
Yes, you can.
All right, Colleen, which was it?
What was that?
All right.
This was 2 weeks ago?
You weren't here.
Right,
No,
you were
Yeah,
absent.
no,
I
you
was
were
not here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were definitely absent.
Yes. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved, number 83. Colleen, number 84.
And this is a little long, but we agreed I'm going to read the whole thing. This is with regard to Sustainable Westchester. So resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following. Whereas Sustainable Westchester, Inc., a not-for-profit organization now comprised of over 40 municipalities in Westchester County, including the Village of Pleasantville, sought approval of a demonstration community choice aggregation program in Westchester County in 2014, which would allow local governments to participate in Sustainable Westchester program to procure energy supply from energy service companies, ESCOs, for the residents of the municipalities. And whereas on February 26, 2015, the Public Service Commission of the State of New York approved implementation of the first Community Choice Aggregation Pilot Program in New York State, which allows Sustainable Westchester to put out for bid the total amount of natural gas or electricity being purchased by local residents or small businesses. And whereas the program is intended to provide consumers with the ability to lower their overall energy costs. And whereas the potential benefits of CCA programs include price stability for a fixed contract term, lower prices, more favorable contract terms, and the ability to design a program that reflects local preferences and needs, including a preference for cleaner power sources. And whereas the Westchester Pilot Program is intended to include residential and small non-residential customers and to permit the aggregation of both electric and natural gas purchases. And whereas Sustainable Westchester, Inc. will issue a request for proposals to suppliers to provide energy to participants and will then award a contract. And whereas Sustainable Westchester, Inc. of the Village will request individual customer data from the utility, and the selected supplier will then notify the bundled customers of the contract terms and the customer's opportunity to opt out of the program within 20 days. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Pleasantville shall enter into an agreement to participate in a Sustainable Westchester program for its residents and business consumers who are currently purchasing electricity,
not
who are not currently purchasing electricity from an energy service company only if the default price is guaranteed to be consistently less than the utility price for the same period, or the default price is fixed at a level that is less than the average utility price for the same commodity for the same customer class over the preceding 12-month period, or the default price is at first set at a level that is less than the average utility price for electricity for the same customer class over the preceding 12-month period and only floats upward by less than 25% of the price increases implemented by the utilities. And be it further resolved that the village agrees to notify residents and business owners eligible for inclusion in a manner that the village deems effective and efficient about the program in advance of the program's implementation. And be it further resolved that based upon the text and prior interpretations of the general municipal law, a municipality may participate in a community choice aggregation program without undertaking the referendum requirement of GML 360, which applies only to the construction, leasing, purchasing, acquisition, use, or ownership of a public utility service as defined in the GML. And be it further resolved that the mayor of the Village of Pleasantville is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents to give effect to this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
This has been the subject of much discussion over the last couple of months, and we had an extended hour-long presentation from Mike Gordon of Sustainable Westchester, who has visited us tonight on this occasion. And there has been a robust conversation among board members as well. So I think given the level of discussion, it would be appropriate to take a roll call vote. And on that occasion, anyone who has anything to add or comment is free to do so. Steve?
Shall I kick it off?
Kick it off.
Okay, good. So I like where this lands. As many people know, I haven't loved the way we get there, but I do like where we end up. I'm all in favor of introducing competition into an area that doesn't have it yet, and I'm in favor of lowering people's bills to any extent that we're possibly able to do so. I have had concerns in the past about the opt-in, opt-out thing, and whether or not this was an area in which the government of Pleasantville should be introducing itself. Those concerns have been allayed somewhat over the past several weeks as we've had public hearings and as you gave your presentation here, and I was able to understand a little bit more around how the program is actually going to be implemented. Part of our job, as far as I'm concerned up here, is to weigh the benefits and the risks of something like this. And I think it's been made very clear that this is a contract that will only be entered into if the pricing and if the numbers work. And if the numbers don't work, if you guys bid this thing out and you can't get a bite that makes a lot of economic sense for everybody, then it doesn't happen. I'm also somewhat allayed by the fact that the PSA is involved in this thing and it is a trial balloon for our area, but this is a program that's very well established in other states in the union and has been run very successfully there. That's not to say I'm entirely mollified, I guess is the right word. I still have concerns about the data collection. I don't love that. I don't like the cost that may be associated with it. And in my experience personally, the road to where is paved with good intentions. This is the kind of thing that could have unintended consequences. So I just want to caution everybody that we stay aware of those things and watch out for what may creep up on us that we haven't thought through. But generally speaking, I think the benefits outweigh the risks of anything like this. And so my vote is yes.
Mindy?
Okay. I just want to say that, I'm very much an advocate of saving our residents money. My record, I think, shows that I understand the value of a little extra savings, no matter how small. It can really help a family or someone on fixed income. Over the years, I've fought against rate hikes for parking, recreation fees, water rates. And if it means $50 or $100 to somebody, it may not be a lot to one person, but it certainly is a lot for another person. However, in this case, the Community Choice Aggregation Pilot Program, I believe, clearly puts government in the decision-making position for a purchase that has always been made by the individual resident and small businesses. Now government will make the choice of who an individual's energy provider will be. When we have the opportunity, which we don't have very often, to engage our residents and small businesses, that they have a choice, I believe we should give them that choice. Giving them the tools that they need to get informed and choose whether to opt into a program, not have the board make that decision for them. Sustainable Westchester had the ability to present this as an opt-in program. However, they chose, for reasons that I don't agree with, to choose it as an opt-out program. It's quite simple. I believe that the Community Choice Aggregation Program should be an opt-in program, and for that reason, I will vote no. I will also request, because I believe that I will be on the minority on this board, that that we have some kind of a schedule of the deliverables that we need to have a record of, and they have to be publicized, and I think on a very timely basis. And one of those is that Sustainable Westchester will confirm that the RFP price that is in our resolution is based upon ensuring savings. That's for no other reasons, that you'll go out there and you'll get the best price, and it won't go through without that reason, without that happening. Also, that Sustainable Westchester, for purposes of issuing the RFP, will protect the customer's initial utility data limited to the aggregated usage and capacity tag data. Also, number 3, that Sustainable Westchester, once the contract is awarded, that they will again protect the customer-specific individual customer utility data. Customer addresses, account numbers, usage data, and capacity tag obligations. That Sustainable Westchester will set up the community-based website that they talked about, showing price savings and ESCO information, and that the Village of Pleasantville will engage in the required public outreach program on a timely basis to notify residents and small businesses of the CCA implementation. Also, the Village of Pleasantville to notify residents and small businesses of the opt-out options. That the Village of Pleasantville notify residents and small businesses of links to the information about the CCA as part of the public outreach program. And that the Village of Pleasantville and Sustainable Westchester notify the bundled customers of the contract terms and reiterate their opt-out choices. And that the Village of Pleasantville publish the costs involved to the village to implement this program, and that the village has to be accountable for this if we're going to pass this resolution. This is a big responsibility, and I know nobody on this board will take it lightly. I have faith in that, but I think that we need a schedule of these deliverables so the public knows when they expect this from us on a timely basis. So, my vote is no. Thank you.
Colleen?
I was very impressed with the work and the presentation, Mike, that you came and did here, and I have to say that just about every question that I had was answered by you. It is clear to me that Sustainable Westchester has done their homework. And while I agree with Trustee Berard that if the option were there to do an opt-in, it would be done, research says that they just don't work and you just don't get the numbers. I am thrilled that we can do something that actually lowers a cost to one of our taxpayers, and I don't believe that we're getting into the energy business. I believe that we're offering our community an option that they can opt out of lowering their bills should they choose to. And I very much appreciate your work, and I vote yes. So thank you.
Joe?
The thing that moved me from a no to a yes is the fact that not only can a customer opt out at the beginning, but at any time. So if you're dissatisfied with the pricing and you think you can get a better price elsewhere, you can simply opt out. And the ease with which opting out seems to be in place, which is either a phone call or a postcard, or I suppose you could even write a letter, but you'll get a postcard. So the burden on the customer to opt out is so minimal, certainly not unreasonable, probably easier than opting in to a different ESCO. It's probably easier to get out of this than it is to get into something else, and I was very concerned about that. I'm also concerned, though I agree with Trustee Berard, I'm concerned about the protection of personal data, but overall the ease with which and the fact that you can do it at any time opting out of the program moved me from a no to a yes, so I will be a yes.
Good point.
I thank all my colleagues not only for their comments tonight, but for the vigorous commentary that has gone into this discussion, which I think has not only been useful in our understanding of the program, but useful for everybody to understand a little more about this aspect of our regional economy. I understand Mindy's feeling about government's role in this. I would present it somewhat differently, that this program is simply a new opportunity, and it is offered to the people who have remained with the default energy provider in our neck of the woods, Con Ed, and that was not the intention that the state envisioned when they deregulated energy rates quite a few years ago. But because the consumer, myself included, is ill-equipped to make a good decision about what sort of an alternative energy supplier to go with, I can speak for myself that I have remained with Con Ed because I don't know how to respond to phone calls or the direct mail pieces I have gotten, and we have all been a party to discussions of neighbors who have taken one or another offer, and in some cases felt as though the savings that were offered didn't materialize and that it was a bait and switch. So the beauty of this program, among many things, is that it is a program of Sustainable Westchester, which I hasten to point out is a membership organization of 42, am I right, Mike? 42 of the 45 municipal...
One hasn't paid their dues.
42 of the 45 municipalities in all of Westchester County. So Sustainable Westchester is us. Pleasantville is a member. And Sustainable Westchester has put together this coalition and successfully lobbied the state in the form of the Public Service Commission to allow this program to be undertaken in Westchester on a pilot basis. As Steve indicated, these programs exist in a bunch of other states, Illinois being an example in which the majority, I think, of residential utility customers are in community choice aggregation programs, the thrust of which is simply to band together to create a buying cooperative that has more clout, and that buying cooperative not only has more clout to achieve better prices, but it also has the opportunity to have wise and knowledgeable advisors who can make the right choice. So there's a piece of consumer protection injected into this that doesn't exist for any of us as we try to navigate the alternative energy supply world. So I am firmly, vigorously in favor of this, and I vote yes. And I hasten to point out, as all of my colleagues have mentioned, that for anybody who, for whatever reason, doesn't like the cut of this jib, you have the opportunity to say, "Hey, I don't want to participate," simply by making a phone call or returning a postpaid postcard, either, as Joe indicated, before the change takes place or at any point thereafter. And as Mindy requested, Sustainable Westchester is required by the PSC to be providing public reports about how it all worked out and to compare the rates produced under the contract with those with the default provider, Con Ed. Last piece to mention is that Con Ed is perfectly happy to have you depart as a customer. They are not any longer, after the deregulation of energy, in the business of producing energy. They are simply in the poles and wires business, as Mike puts it. They are paid to distribute this energy, and any trouble you have with wire to your house or the tree that came down and took down telephone poles will continue to be served by Con Ed. That's what they're paid to do, and the service piece of your bill, the service and transmission piece, continues to be a Con Ed revenue point. And lastly, just as is the case with any other ESCO, you'll still get all your billing on a single Con Ed bill. So I am happy to vote yes, and the resolution...
So does this make us 6 of the 42?
Yep.
The resolution passes 4-1.
May I say something quick?
Please do. This is Mike Gordon of Sustainable Westchester, and
I just want to spotlight something that Mindy said, if I may call you Mindy.
Yes, of course.
So she specifically, by the way, it's a great idea on your part to say, let's do a link through. And I think that we've got the clear link through to the Public Service Commission site, so it's just a fantastic idea. And we will then implement that idea. But basically what you've outlined is the next step, which is basically taking whatever cost-free or low-cost endeavors that you could take to inform the citizenry. That's really it. That's the next step. And then we take whatever it is that you do, and we're preparing a package. Glenn has a package for you guys to get out there. And whatever it is you do, we just list it in bullet points, submit it to the Public Service Commission, and then they actually use that to say, okay, time for the data transfer. So that's the next step. So you've outlined the next step.
You're talking about the part, there's two, you're talking about the data transfer from the utility.
Yes.
Is that what you're just talking about?
Yeah, we're
So-
only getting aggregate data at this
Right,
point. So as soon as you
to send out the
inform,
RFP. But then
Yeah.
when you get into the contract,
That's
is when you
another step.
that's a whole nother step where you
Yep.
authorize the more individualized data. You have
Yep.
to have that to
Down
deliver
eventually,
the,
assuming
to
they
deliver
get-
the service.
Assuming they get a contract back that's competitive.
yep,
Right.
that's exactly right.
So that's the piece, is that the initial release of personal information is just an aggregate
Yeah,
number
there is none-
for the
no
RFP.
personal information.
However, when you enter into the contract is when the individual
when-
customer
Yes.
information is transferred.
And it's our
But,
intent, actually, to
um,
transfer that directly to the energy services company,
And
which is the
you
winning.
you will request that, not because the PSC's order is, states either Sustainable Westchester or the municipality will do it. So in this, you're saying that
We'll
you're
do
going
it.
to do it.
Yep.
And also the PSC's order also states that the community outreach program is done by the municipality.
Yeah.
When you were here
So-
last time, you said you would help us with that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly the next stage. What you've outlined is precisely the next stage. So Glenn has,
You right away, yeah.
yeah, he's prepared,
We send it to Pat. Yeah.
a classic outreach. He's actually got, you've got text for robocalls if you happen to have phone numbers in your database,
So you just give us the text. We actually have to go through
Yeah.
the actual costs and process it.
Yeah,
The
you don't even
information's
have to
coming
do,
from
if you don't
from
want to do
us.
robocalls, you don't have to do
We're not going to
robocalls.
do, I don't think we're going to do
Yeah.
robocalls.
Well,
I don't
the
like
board's
robo- I don't like
decisions.
I don't
receiving
like
them.
getting them either.
I
Uh-huh.
certainly don't want to give them.
I don't like to opt out of things, though. So, so that's
But
a whole
anyway,
other
so
story.
it'll be a
Um,
menu, and you guys don't have to do everything, but it's just whatever you do, is that you do, we will take that and bullet point it and report it to the Public Service Commission and ask for the transfer of the aggregate data.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Colleen, I'll just finish. I don't
Sorry,
know
I
if-
didn't mean to take.
No, 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 I think
You're
it's
okay.
good, it's
Glad
very
to have you here,
good. It's
absolutely.
very good that you're here. And it's appreciated by, I'm sure, everybody here. But the one thing that I don't think a lot of municipalities do very well is communicate on a timely basis. And this is very time sensitive. So that's why I would like a list of deliverables that we can post and live to as a checklist for us, for our administrator and clerk and everybody, and you, that you owe us this, and this is part of our checklist.
Twist our arm.
Believe me,
You
it's
are a
gonna happen
complete
because-
ally. This is what I would be now communicating to Peter about, okay, here's our next step. And what you're outlining is exactly what our next step is, so twist our arm.
So the 13 months that you were given by the PSC, that clock started ticking in December 24th, or did that start ticking once you put the RFP in?
I would say, I don't know exactly what 13-month that you're talking about, but I would guess if there's a ticking clock, it's February 26th when it would start ticking.
Okay. In the order, it says that, I can't put my finger on it right now, I probably should have highlighted, it said something about it's a pilot for 13 months we're giving.
Yeah, I
Sustainable
think that
Westchester.
13 months, that 12 or 13 months is likely to come from the first contract that we
contract
sign.
goes in, yeah.
However, what we're going to do is we're going to go after a change to 36 months
Mm-hmm.
because we really want a fixed price.
So of the six.
And that isn't a done deal
Right.
yet, but we expect it to be.
For the 6 municipalities that you now have, what is the what was the cutoff date you were working with?
We were originally thinking May 15th. At this point, because we just got information from the Solicitor General's office about whether referendum is required, and we're preparing all the by the way, that's off your plate. You don't need to send a letter to the Solicitor General's office at all, because we're getting very timely responses, and we feel like it's all lined up. But from that, we think it's probably smart to keep it open to like June 15th, June 18th, June 20th, and if we're waiting for Yonkers and White Plains and Mamaroneck or something, I don't mean Mamaroneck, Yonkers, White Plains and New Rochelle, right there, it's probably going to be smart for us to just wait that extra week and, get that much bigger a deal. So I'm not giving you a precise date, but I'm giving you a kind of where we are. At some point, look, if communities are lagging, we're just going to go out to bid and then invite them in a week or 2 or 3 weeks later. So
Sorry,
that's
Colleen.
the kind of back of the envelope timeframe. that we're thinking.
So just a quick question. So if someone who's listening tonight or reads this in the paper calls the village and says, I want to opt out, can we keep a list?
You could if you want.
Or does
It's
it
just,
have to
but
come?
what a pain in the rear end for
No,
you
I
guys,
agree.
right?
I'm just
It's probably gonna
wondering.
happen.
But it's
So
probably
we need
going to
know how
happen.
handle that.
You know, is if
Keep
someone
it,
calls
send it
tomorrow.
to us, and, you know,
So-
if you want
But
to.
can we opt them out on their behalf?
Yeah, does it need to come directly from them? Do they need to make the call or sign the card?
I
or
mean,
put-
we're certainly going to be willing to do that.
Okay. And
Sure.
so- okay.
But what if
Just so we know.
you lose the number and, you know, you don't want to be responsible and promise them? What if you lose the
Well,
number
but
and you
there are
don't
some
get it
people
to
that
us?
maybe it would just help them out, or who may be
Yeah.
really, really upset, and this might be the right way to handle it for some of our residents.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I
And
would do that. That
so
would
you
be
would-
very helpful.
You would need their name and
Sure.
their address and their telephone
But don't
number.
give it to us now, give it
No,
to us
no,
later.
no, but I'm just saying, I'm not
already-
saying.
Well,
Well, there's
You
always
already
people,
had
you
said
got me
that-
into this, now you get me out of it.
Yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
think, I just want to know what our options are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
Just-
because you had said you're working with false numbers. You had said that when you
What's
were
that?
here because you don't know who's going to
We
opt
have an
out.
intern. that'll
Absolutely.
help us.
Right, so, you know.
But
this
just
will-
don't
this will
give
help
us
you.
those names now because
That
we'll
assignment-
No,
lose
no,
them.
no, I'm not even saying we're going
Yeah.
to do it, I just want to know if it was
Yep.
an option.
If-
That
Absolutely.
If we
assignment
come
is
up
definitely-
against that, we need
Definitely
to know
rolling
how to
downhill
handle
in the
Yep,
office, that assignment.
that's good. Keep the names and then let us know when it's timely.
And just for the benefit of
We have
anybody
somebody
who's
who can
listening,
handle that.
my advice would be that it would be worth your while to wait to decide until you
Yes.
see what the nature of the
Because
deal
the
is.
numbers have to come in.
Yeah.
Because at the point at which we ask you, do you want to remain in the pool, we'll have more to say about what remaining in the pool means. And indeed, you know, based on the promises already described, this won't happen unless the deal is better than the deal with the default provider. So,
Yeah.
you know, I would hate to think anybody deprived themselves of the savings without looking at the actual deal. So,
Yeah.
But
but
this is
again,
only if you're in an ESCO now. If you're
Right.
not, if you're in an ESCO now, you're not involved in this.
Doesn't affect
So,
you.
right.
You will have the opportunity to opt in later, anytime that you want, but you're not getting any notification, nothing's happening to you.
so but just for the benefit of people who are with an ESCO, there may be termination
Yes.
penalties
Yes.
depending on the contract you signed. In the case of the Sustainable Westchester deal, there are no termination penalties. And if you're in it for a period of time and decide you'd prefer to be anywhere else,
Bye-bye.
all you have to do is say so. So,
Okay, thank you.
Mike, I
Thanks,
appreciate
Mike.
your visit, appreciate your coming twice, and
Judy had
happy
a
to be in the
question, I
pool.
think.
Can I ask a quick,
Pleasure.
one
Yeah.
quick question? My community is talking about this tomorrow night, unfortunately can't make it. So let's say the
So
community
which,
goes.
Dos-
Ossining.
Osmond.
okay,
Town of
cool.
So, if the whole
Actually,
community.
4 tomorrow night.
Excuse me?
4 or 5, I think, tomorrow night, actually.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
If the entire community is going into this, we bid out and we like the price, and let's say through, you know, you said you can opt out at any point, the
Yes.
entire community, if the price isn't right.
The
say
entire
that the-
community is in,
No.
because you notice the resolution says shall. So the entire community is absolutely in. Individuals can opt out.
That I understand, but let's say the prices, I thought you had mentioned that you said if the prices aren't good, that the.
Then it's not happening.
It's not.
There
Right,
won't
and they
be
just
a
don't
deal.
get a
You're
contract.
still in,
Right.
but the contract won't
Oh,
happen.
so the contract for
Right.
3 years is good for 3 years?
Yeah, we could end up not getting a contract in 2 months and saying, "Up, let's wait another couple of
That
months."
didn't work.
And 2 months later, 2 months later, 2 months later, and then suddenly we get a compliant contract.
Oh, so that contract is good for the 3 years and they have to stick
That's
with
right,
that
that's
price?
our-
Okay.
They're setting in their method of doing business certain basic parameters. It has to be lower than Con Edge prices for the previous year. There are certain basic things. If they get a lower price, even better. Okay, but if they get a higher price, it's not compliant.
Right, we can't sign. We're not going to sign.
But then Con Ed would just take us all back. So
Oh, they would never leave.
Never
You wouldn't have
You
left.
wouldn't leave
Never
in the
leave.
first place, because
Nothing
no
would
deal
happen.
would ever be signed.
You won't be
See,
switched over.
The only way the thing happens at all is if they go out and they get a bunch of people together with a much stronger buying power than any of us individually and say, if we bring all these people to you, what's our price? And if they get a price that's lower than Con Ed and it fits all of their criteria, then they'll explore doing a contract. If they don't get a competitive price back,
You'll never see it other than a notice that says we're looking at doing this.
so in that regard, in terms of the economics of it, it's a little fail-safe because they wouldn't even take the next step, right?
Yeah.
Unless the economics are better. That's that.
Appreciate the articulation. It's a scary movie, nonetheless.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And thank you to Sustainable
Mike, do you-
Westchester.
Need a copy of this resolution certified, or?
We don't need it certified, but
We'll send it.
should probably just get it.
Okay.
Great.
Exchange emails with me, and then I'll get it to you in the morning. Thank you. All right, thanks.
And
All right.
and Patty, will you be the point then on this? I
I'm
mean,
it.
who would?
Yes.
You were it, right? Okay.
Do I drop a card off with
Yeah,
someone?
that would be
We
great.
can take
Yes.
it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
number 85,
Thank you.
Joe.
Very much.
This one's
Thank
easy
you.
and
Nice
happy.
work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Glenn.
Bye, Mike.
Number 85, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the following donations. Ledge Rock Gardens, donating $200 to Senior Center Programs, and the Chamber of Commerce donating $4,000 to Pleasantville Day festivities.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you to Ledge Rock, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, which is the sponsor of the Camp Kiwi Kids Zone. No, the rides.
The
Camp
acti-
Kiwi
the
is the
activity
sponsor
zone.
of the Camp Kiwi Kids Zone, obviously. The Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring the Adventure Zone. Is that what it's called, I think? So, really, really much appreciated. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Parents,
approved.
bring your pen and be prepared to sign a lot of,
Well, there are waivers. There are
yeah,
participation
you have to sign the
waivers.
waivers, exactly right.
So
I hope we
people
have
need-
pens on hand.
We do, but people
Okay.
need to know to bring their parents.
Yes, and bring their
Because
parents.
they're
It's a family
Right,
day.
It's
we
a
have
family
a
day, so.
rock climbing wall and some cool
It's going to be
stuff.
fabulous.
What is the minimum age going to be on that?
It's 18.
18. So a
Not
rock.
that it requires it. You can go on these things as long as you're usually 12 and over, but you
Right.
still
Yeah.
need consent.
18 for the consent.
It's not
Right, for
18
free
to
consent.
play.
Otherwise, the
Yes.
parents have to
Yes.
sign.
And your 18-year-old brother can't sign the consent form for you.
All right, Steve, number 86.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign the prisoner transportation agreement with Westchester County Department of Corrections.
Is there a second?
Second.
Patty, you want to describe this?
Yeah, certainly. This isn't anything new. We've been involved with an IMA with Westchester County for many, many years. We and every community that participates in the prison transportation agreement become reimbursed on a per-mile basis based on our distance from Pleasantville Village Hall to Valhalla and the number of transports that take place from our court.
But the total hours go into they go towards their retirement, right? Their total hours.
Sorry?
When our officer does this, even though we get reimbursed for his time, I believe some mileage in there too. That is, if they're on overtime, say, it goes to their
Well, this isn't.
total hours worked for the year if they're gonna use their,
Oh, it isn't additional pay? This comes to us.
This is
So-
So
the
it's-
county
it-
paying
yes,
us.
the county
for
giving
the
us
service.
Right,
So we
I
do
know we
pay-
get reimbursed for that, but it's
Any
just-
hour they work, any
they're
minute for
gonna-
any
yes,
purpose,
that's
certainly
my
is
point.
reportable for retirement
Right.
purposes. But this doesn't cause extra work to be done. We have to do this anyway.
Right,
And they go in
yeah.
our vehicles?
Yes. They go in.
Have the
our
numbers
vehicles.
changed? I mean, have the reimbursement rates gone up over time?
They have.
The IRS
Several
rate.
years
They
ago.
do.
It's the
they
standard
escalated.
IRS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see that here.
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Mindy, 87.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby closes Memorial Plaza on Monday, May 25th, 2015, for the Memorial Day ceremonies, and further authorizes the police chief to post no parking signs along Bedford Road on both sides from Academy Street to the plaza, and to tow all vehicles in violation of this temporary parking restriction.
Is there a second?
Second.
As mentioned, Monday, May 25, starts at 10 a.m. at BRS, gets down to Memorial Plaza sometime around 10:30. We encourage all to attend. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Number 88.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the request from the Lions Club to use Parkway Field for their annual Hole-in-One tournament on Saturday, July 25th, 2015, with a rain date of July 26th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Said event is being sponsored by the Pleasantville Recreation Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
The Lions Club does all kinds of great stuff, and their annual hole-in-one tournament is one of them. As a brief diversion, I think I mentioned, but in case I didn't, I'll mention again that it was these very Pleasantville Lions who organized and provided the dinner for cancer survivors at the Pace University Relay for Life a few weeks ago. Just yet another example of the good stuff the Lions do. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. 89. Joe.
Number 89, resolve that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following water rates for the fiscal year 2015-2016. Residents, $64.74 per 1,000 cubic feet. Non-residents in a district, $82.80 per 1,000 cubic feet. Non-residents, $97.33 per 1,000 cubic feet. And bulk sales, $77.31 per 1,000 cubic feet. And on the ready-to-serve list, 5/8 inch meter, $57. For non-residents, it's $71. A 3/4 inch for residents is $74. Non-residents, $88. 1 inch resident charge, $121. Non-resident, $134. Inch and a quarter, residential rate, $180. Non-residential rate, $194. Inch and a half, resident rate $253, non-resident rate $267. 2 inch resident rate is $359, and the non-resident rate is $373. For sprinkler systems, for a 4 inch system, resident rate is $359.99, and the non-resident rate is $373. A 6 inch system, resident rate is $704, and a non-resident charge is $718. And for an 8 inch system, the resident charge is $1,394, and a non-resident charge is $1,408. And in unit dwellings, what is UN4, UN5, UN6, UN7? What is that? I don't understand that.
Why don't you just
Those
state
are-
it in the record?
Yeah, those are account codes. They really just deal with different
Okay.
districts.
Account code UN4, $387. UN5, $442. UN6, $1,035. UN7, $304. UN8, $718. UN10, $414. And UN11, $272.
Is there a second?
Second.
So Patty, why is just that one item, 4 inch sprinkler system quarterly charges $359.99? Everything else is an even dollar amount.
You know,
Shall we just,
those are probably like one of the eighth wonders of the
can
world.
we make
I
that
think.
$360?
We can. I think Mary would be very happy to see that.
Add 1 penny to it, but then everything is a
Yes.
round number?
Can I just tell you that nothing has changed? These
Right,
are the
that's what-
existing.
yeah.
Well, actually,
although I do-
something just did.
Yeah, something good.
Yeah.
The move-ant consents to the 1 penny increase on that.
Nothing changed in ready-to-serve sprinkler unit dwellings. The only rate change is bulk sales. We mentioned this during the public hearing, that we were setting the bulk sales at the resident rate plus raw water costs for New York City. It's gone up maybe 8 cents. Very small, although the city is announcing another rate increase. The bulk sales apply to Cottage School and Pace.
Didn't we
These are the
set water
large
rates?
users outside of the village.
Didn't we set water rates the night we did the budget? We did the budget, and then I remember doing water rates.
No, we didn't. No,
I
no, it was
thought
the only
we did.
resolution we didn't have when we adopted the budget. But
Maybe I read it. Maybe I saw something
No,
about
you
it. I
did.
don't know.
oh, it's in the budget. I mean, it's just part of the
Patty,
presentation.
and Patty gave us the rates and said they're unchanged.
Yeah, we didn't expect
So-
any of the major
Okay.
rates, but
You
when we
did
got
read
the,
it.
the city is still toying with the rate increase. I just got the email today from Jeff. The city is saying that they expect their raw water costs to go up 9.87%. This is just,
This
it just
is
never.
unbelievable.
I know, it just never
There's this
stops.
thing called the water board.
Yeah. So we
It's
just
like
got the
being
notice today.
waterboarded for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're getting waterboarded.
They're setting a public hearing on the proposed rates Monday, June 1st. These will go into effect 2016.
But
So-
despite those planned increases, we're holding the line for our customers, our
Yes,
residents
except for
and
the
our
bulk
customers.
sales,
Except
which are
for the bulk
outside
sales.
the, yeah.
Because
They're-
Joe, we
they're going up a
just
few
had an
pennies.
increase not too long ago.
Yeah.
So just for those who may not be aware, our water comes from the New York City reservoir system, and therefore we buy the raw water from New York City. It then goes through the water treatment plant that we jointly own with the town of Newcastle in Millwood, and then comes through our system. So our raw water cost is set by New York City, and as you've already heard, New York City has been in the business of increasing those rates in part because of their efforts to avoid filtration, which is a very costly venture for a city as big as New York, and they're investing a lot of other money in buying additional land and the like to protect the watershed. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Number 90, Steve.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the request from Pleasant Avenue residents to hold a block party on Saturday, May 16th, 2015, from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Looks like a good time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village clerk to notice a public hearing for Monday, June 8th, 2015, at 8 p.m. prevailing time, 80 Wheeler Avenue, Pleasantville, New York, to hear comments as it pertains to a local law amending Chapter 173, Vehicle and Traffic, Section 173-57, stop intersections as follows: to add a stop sign on Country Club Lane, traveling east at the intersection of Broadway or Route 141.
Is there a second?
Second.
So it's been brought to our attention that there isn't a stop sign at the end of Country Club Lane where it hits Broadway. And we're required to have a public hearing whenever such a thing is proposed. And it has been scheduled for our next regular meeting, Monday, June 8th.
Did we never have a
Nope.
sign there? I
Never
lived
had
there
one.
for a long time. I
There's
always
not
thought
a
there was
sign, but
sign.
if you don't stop, you're pretty much like,
That's an
gonna get in a car
uncontrolled intersection
accident.
I mean, it's an intuitive stop, but clearly
Yeah.
it would make sense
Oh,
to
no,
solve
it does
that.
make a lot of
Right.
sense to put a stop
I
sign.
can't believe
Some
it.
people
Yeah,
are kind
it's
of
very
sneaking
bad.
up and rolling
Right.
a little
Just
bit.
this
It's
weekend.
better to
I didn't know
stop.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Colleen, number 92.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village clerk to notice a public hearing for Monday, June 8th, 2015, 8 p.m. prevailing time, 80 Wheeler Avenue, Pleasantville, New York, to hear comments as it pertains to a local law amending Chapter 173, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 173-66, time limit parking as follows. We're deleting Tompkins Avenue parking lot, north and east side, at a location designated spaces at north and east side of lot, time limited hours, and we're adding the name of the street, Tompkins Avenue parking lot, the side is north and east, to time limit hours and days, 1 hour parking, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, 1 hour parking, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, no parking, 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, in a location designated spaces at north and east side of the lot.
Is there a second?
Second.
So for those who may not be aware, the parking lot at Tompkins Avenue, the corner of Tompkins and Manville, is owned by Holy Innocents Church. And we have had a long-standing agreement with them that in exchange for maintaining the lot, a number of the spaces in that lot are available to the public. At times the church doesn't need them, but it's their property, and we are fortunate to have the opportunity to use that lot for public purposes at the designated spaces at the other times. This is an effort on the part of Holy Innocents to improve the availability of parking for their parishioners when they have services on Saturday and Sunday. So,
One of the things we talked about at the work session was allowing it to be called the Holy Innocents Lot. Can we include that as part of this
Sure.
resolution?
Absolutely.
So that if anybody wants to comment on that, at this public
Good
hearing,
idea.
you know.
Sure.
so the mover and the seconder are okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 93.
Number 93, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby, based upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Public Works, hereby approves the appointment of David McGee Jr. to the position of Motor Equipment Operator effective June 1, 2015, at a salary of $56,844. Said appointment is subject to satisfactory result of a pre-employment physical and to the rules and regulations of the Westchester County Department of Human Resources of a probationary period not less than 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks.
Is there a second?
Second.
That's backed up by a memo from Jeff Econom, our DPW superintendent, indicating that they've made several interviews and are strongly in favor of Mr. McGee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Number 94.
94. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby reserves the use of 7 on-street metered parking spaces on the east side of Memorial Plaza and all parking spaces within the Memorial Plaza parking lot north of the gazebo on both sides for farmers market activity. Parking restrictions will be instituted in said spaces on each Saturday from May 23rd, 2015 through December 5th, 2015 between the hours of 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. And that further resolved that the Chief of Police is hereby authorized to post no parking signs and to tow any vehicle that violates these temporary parking regulations.
Is there a second?
Second.
The folks at Foodchester, who not-for-profit that runs our farm market, have provided impressive and detailed graphics outlining these locations.
Yeah, they
Yes,
have.
very.
They've done a great job.
And all of this sets up what we hope will be smooth operations for the farm market, which again is closed this weekend, May 16, because it's Pleasantville Day, and will be getting in outdoors on May 23.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Joe.
No, you
I was just going to mention, we had a meeting with them, with the Food Chester guys the other day, talking about setting up for the new season. And, you know, just so everybody understands, they're not preventing people from parking in these spots just because they think it's a good idea. They need these spaces, in some cases, for safety. And the safety of the visitors to the farmers market, and frankly, everybody else, is very high on their radar. So I don't want everybody to misunderstand why they are taking these spots away. They're not trying to, you know, create the situation where you can't park right next to the farmer's market, but they need to be able to get the equipment and the trucks in and out of there and still be able to see. That's really the largest issue in some cases. And then the other thing I was going to say is, when you enter into Memorial Plaza and you can come up to where the farmer's market begins and then you can exit back out in front of the post office, that is not a good place to stop. And a lot of people have been stopping there, and it's causing no end of issues. So just for the record, please don't stop there. That's a drop-off point at best, but if you just stop and leave your car there, the Food Chester guys will have to, you know, take whatever steps they have to take.
And the other thing about the mayor commented on the detailed layout of the farmer's market and where everything is situated. It's important not only for parking purposes, and they need the space that they're getting, but also the boundaries of the farmer's market. It's an important set of boundaries, because there are certain activities that we like to have in a farmer's market, like shopping and chatting and having a nice time and making your purchases and not being assailed by political speeches,
Right.
or other types of unapproved vendors and things like that. And so we want to make sure that the farmers market wants to make sure that the farmers market area is well delineated, so people know, hey, when you're entering this space, you're entering a farmers market. So please, let's respect
Right.
the farmers market rules and regulations of behavior and so on.
And with the authority and the permission of the village.
Of course.
Right, so it is public land, yes, but for the hours of the operation of the farmer's market, the rules and
farmer's market.
regulations that they've adopted are the ones that we've given them a permission to use. We should also mention the dogs while we can. So the other change I think that's happening this year, and everybody who's been to the farmer's market over the last couple of weeks has probably seen the flyer. There will be a prohibition now going forward on dogs at the farmer's market. So it's a very important change. It's one that I think everybody probably feels a little sad about, but it is a necessary one given a bunch of activities that have happened over the past couple of years. And so please do not bring your dog to the farmer's market once it starts up in the next couple of weeks, because you won't be able to go in.
And I will tell you, I was at the meeting where they discussed that. It was a painstaking decision.
Yeah, it
to
really
make people
was.
love their dogs, and they
Yep.
love to bring them, and that's great. But it became too unwieldy. It's too busy of a market and too small of a space. It's just really hard to deal with dogs.
they
and things
really
that dogs
tried.
do.
They did.
They
And it's
tried.
not
They had
great
a
for the
great.
dogs.
They had a
I
great
mean,
and
card.
The
that
dogs
they
tried
placed there.
too, but-
Yeah, they tried. Yeah.
And we also, incidentally, they polled patrons, dog owners, and most dog owners said, yeah, we kind of agree. We understand. We love our dogs. Honestly, too much to even put them through this. It's difficult. That's very
Yeah.
crowded. It's very busy. It's very
agree.
active.
And there isn't a place for them, like you're saying. We don't have a grassy area where we can put dogs or have them have a bailout area. So it'll take a little while for everybody to get used to that. But again, just so we can reiterate it on our end, going forward, no dogs at the farmer's market.
All right, great. I thank you for that. Did we actually vote on that? All in favor? Aye. Motion approved. All right, that was the last of our resolutions. Did anybody have any new business? Any further comment? Wanted to remind you one more time of this long list of activities coming up. This coming Saturday, all day long downtown, Pleasantville Day, open house at the pool on Saturday, May 23 from noon to 3 p.m. Farmers Market opens outdoors on Saturday, May 23. Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony on Monday, May 25, starting at 10 a.m. Fireman's Parade on Friday, May 29 at 7 p.m. and also the Tina Gambino scholarship fundraiser that same night. And then lastly, Saturday, July 11, the 11th annual Pleasantville Music Festival. You should get yourself to pleasantvillemusicfestival.com. There is a list of the lineup, headlined by the Gin Blossoms and including G Love and Special Sauce, Marshall Crenshaw, Lost Leaders, Rebecca Havlin and Whiskey Heart, Beeps and Her Moneymakers. There are links that allow you to listen to some music clips from all of those artists, and most importantly, a ticket link is up now. Tickets are being sold this year through Ticketmaster, and you have an advantage to buy online now and save. So get yourself to PleasantvilleMusicFestival.com. And worth noting, those of you who are tent city folks, you can reserve 10 by 10 foot tent city spaces, which are $35 a piece, paid for with a reserved location. So that's different from what has been the case last year, and I think is going to help, not only because it will allow people to get a reserved space in advance and not have to try to storm the gates with their tents to get a good location, but also will help support the festival. So PleasantvilleMusicFestival.com, get yourself there and pick up your tickets for the 11th Annual Festival, which is on Saturday, July 11th. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Go
Second.
Rangers, Game 7.
I love
All in
it.
favor?
Oh,
Aye.
Wendy.
Aye. Motion
That's great.
approved. Good night. See you. We have, as mentioned, a quick meeting on the 29th, and then the next meeting is on June 8th.